Okay. So again, I tried to add first my Google Earth satellite um, layer. I got this from the Open Data Source Manager and look for it under XYZ tiles. Next, I used the Open Hazards data from the Philippine database. But if this is not yet installed, you kindly go to plugins, manage and install plugins, and then enable the show also experimental plugins in the settings tab. Once this is done, go to all and make sure to search Open Hazards PH. There should only be one plugin related to it, and make sure you install it. So in my case, I haven't done it, or I rather installed it beforehand, so I don't have the install plugin tab. Okay. So once that is done, you can find the plugin installed with this single button. Okay. The single button will guide you on how you can access all the database of the Philippines in terms of hazards. So once you open this one, just left click. There is a unusual kanang tab. Actually, you need to drag it out na sad kay it can't fit on the screen. So you can drag it out. Okay, na may button there to adjust the resolution. Okay, in my screen man go, this is a laptop. So gamay kay ako ang view. So di na ako makita. But if you're using a bigger screen, magawas na siya fully. You need to adjust the screen so that you can see the load vector or load raster button. Okay? And here you have two choices on where you can find the, or where you can source the data. You have the LIPAD data and the NOAA data. Both of these database were generated by the University of the Philippines. So you have LIPAD under Diliman and NOAA under the UP Resilience Institute. Was there a question from the class? Murag na ko nadunggan? Wala? Okay.
Wala, sir.
Okay, sige. So for this case, we'll try to use first a database for Cagayan de Oro. So under Lipad, click here sa Lipad, look for Cagayan de Oro River. So it's arranged alphabetically, so just go over the bottom. You should see Cagayan de Oro River. Okay, this is Cagayan. That's FIDs 198. Sorry, mag-start kita sa 195 to 200. Muni sila tanan. And they are arranged with its corresponding flood return rates. Okay, so you have 5-year return, 25-year return, and 100-year return. What does these values mean? So if you don't have this knowledge from hydrology, these are the probability of flood to reach this level. And a 5-year flood return is the most frequent one. So muning permi na to experience. A 25-year is less frequent, and this is usually Sendong scale. And 100-year is the worst case scenario. This could be more than Sendong. Okay, so this has been processed for us by the University of the Philippines. But take note that this was validated by the maps that we generated in XU. So it was only done in XU in Cagayan de Oro, and there was a validation. But in other sites, they had to do manual surveys. So munang happy kay ang UP nga nag-prepare din ng XU danog mapa, mas na easier na nun ilang life. And sa ilaha, the project cost 1 billion pesos, but for Xavier, it only cost us just one piece of puto, one piece of kape, na 3-in-1 pa jod, and several nights of prolonged agony. Kaya kinalaman na mo ni siya button over time. So anyway, we just need to add the layer. So you have two options. You have the load vector or load raster. Which one should you choose? If your internet speed is quite fast, you can load the raster. If your internet speed is quite slow, you can load the vector, but you need to change the symbology. So let's try both cases. I'll load first the raster. So once maklik na ako ng 200, just click load raster, and it will take some time. Usually 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, what it's doing is it's trying to access the website of UP. Okay? And if your internet is quite slow, mo freeze ang screen. So normal na siya. So sa ako, wala man siya ni freeze. So I think paspas ako ng net. Murag giyahag yung Ginoo karong adlaw nga paspas ako ni. So, once naana na siya, wait, ako lang sa ning i-close ha kay para maka-conserve kog space sa akong screen. Wait. So there. So you see, na siya kanang actually error. The error is telling me that wait ha. It can't be found in my database. So muna naa siya exclamation point. So it happens pag inani di nila ma-access ang database. So you can actually remove this one and just use the vector, but take note it depends on your kanang internet speed ha. So mas payo gabiin niyo buhaton ni nga step para kanang dili kaayo mo load. So again, I'll load the vector. It's 119 MB. So let's just pray that my internet is enough to support this speed. So while doing that, let's wait. If I click the screen, see, it's not responding. So let's just wait lang and be patient.
Hey, sir, you just click it.
You should click the load vector button. You can find it in the lower part. Nakita? I can show it here. Kinag-freeze na akong screen.
Or I don't see the load button.
You need to adjust the screen size para maka kita nimo tong load vector na button.
Na lang file and size.
Sorry, Pete. Naka-question, Pete?
Can you show it again, sir? Like how to load it in?
Wait lang kay freeze na akong screen. Let's just wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, para mahuman siya og download. So it's normal pag inani ha nga mo not responding. What we are waiting for is that the screen will turn on again and it should be able to load or layer the flood hazard map. So ayaw kahadlok kung i-freeze. Just wait, be patient. Sige, while waiting, Pete, your question was, di mo makita ang load vector nga button?
Uh,
Yes, Pete. Hello?
I got the list of the files and its sizes, but I don't
Yes.
know how to load in the vector.
You need to select first the layer. So look for Lipad Cagayan, which should have a 5-year return rate flood. So just 1 minute more, we'll wait para ma-finish ni ang download. Okay, it's about 100 MB manggod. So you should give time for your computer and your internet to give you hope para mahuman siya download. Sige, let's try. In cases ngayon ani nga medyo mo freeze siya, I have some sort of techniques how to solve this one. First, I don't advise you closing the screen. You have to wait until it catches on. The other option is you can open another file para duha ka QGIS ang ma-open. Or another map rather. And try to load a different layer in that other map. Usually, di lang niya ma-load, kaya ko ang size, or because your internet is not enough. So here, I am trying to load another layer. So Pete, if you can see the screen, this actually guides you to the process. So ako lang i-adjust, and then I look for it under lipad. But here, because lipad data is not yet responding, let's try NOAA. NOAA mo good is a lighter version. Okay. So this is landslide, but you can look for flood. Let's look for oh, sorry, wala na diri ang flood. It's under NOAA flood, but Yolanda. Wala diri ang Cagayan de Oro flood. So dili na to magamit. We can try na lang a different data set. We can try NOAA landslide for now. While galod tong isa. So NOAA landslide raster Bukidnon. It's raster. So actually I can load raster. Let's try raster first. So it's trying to pick up the speed. It's 15 MB. It should be lighter. Sa PCAS wala pa. Here, let's wait. So both programs are not responding. Wait lang ta. So both na nag-freeze. Okay, tura. Wala gi-freeze ang isa. But ang isa, kamulo pa ning download basta inani. If it's done, actually nani ang mapakita o pag nahuman. Okay, 15 MB naman sab di akong gi-load. So raster file ni siya. So let's try this one. Landslide na lang sa ta. Later pag mulod ang flood akong ipakita. So you can actually close this one. Okay, okay naman, ina-load na niya ang file. And this is available in your computer. So whichever zoom view you choose, kaya niya is show on detail. So this is the detailed landslide map of Bukidnon. Red is, I think, high risk to or high susceptibility to landslide. There's an orange here, which is medium, and then yellow, which is low. So you can then choose to layer it with other database that you have. So I'll try to add my existing Google Earth image, but repositioning it to appear below the landslide hazard map. Okay, so it's trying to load. Let's wait lang. So wala pa yapon ang flood. We have an alternative for that if dili mo load na. Don't worry. Oh, ano di man yung load? Ah, okay. They have different projections. So we can use this one. Let's try. Oh, delete siya. Oh, nag-fail. Sorry, nag-fail ang ako ang kanang Google Earth image. It happens basta kanang nag-fail siya globe. So, let's try ngayon ani. I tried to use another layer. Okay, Google Earth yapon. So muna siya. You can now see the overlays of your landslide, which is my hazard layer. And then below is my Google satellite image. And you can also adjust the transparency of the landslide hazard. Just right click it and go to properties and look for transparency. Usually I use 50%. That's enough for me to check what's beneath the hazard layer or any other layer on top. And then I can create features. So later we'll draw some features that we need to measure. Okay? This will give you an idea of how much in terms of land area is prone to a certain disaster. So here we chose landslide. Well, let's check the or flood. So wala pa gyapon ang flood. But anyway, na alternative ana. Don't you worry. So here, nakoy landslide. Let's try to load flood from a different approach. So dili ta magamit og open hazards. Let's turn off first the landslide hazard map, and then we'll load a flood map from another source. So here's the key process or steps for that. You can load it under Open Data Source Manager, but you need to look for WMS WMTS. This one is actually using a different source. It's from the DNR, the Mines and Geosciences Bureau to be exact. And sorry, the NAMRIA, the NAMRIA database, not MGB. So here, we just need to establish the connection. So I have here the Philippine Geo Portal, which I edited, but I want you to create a new one. So here, pag click nimo sa WMS, WMTS, look for the new tab, this one. In the new tab, you should name that as Philippine Geo Portal. Okay, so Philippine Geo Portal. That's the first thing that you need to input. The second one is the URL. For the URL, I'll give you that link. So naa naman na sa ako daan, I just need to give it to you. So I'll add it in the chat box. Make sure to copy and paste it in the URL tab. Okay? When you paste that one, make sure nga wala siya space, ha? Okay, pag na space, dili na mo load. So like what I have here, wala na siya space in between because it's a URL. It should not be separated by a space. Okay? So, i-copy lang ninyo itong nasa chat box and paste it there. Once you have that, click OK. Okay? Dayon, it should appear here. Kung wala list mo gawa sa ubos, you haven't established the connection yet. So, to reconnect, click connect. Gigawas ba na? Na-list sa inyo, ha? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, sir.
Gigawas ang list. Nice. Sige.
Yes, sir, now.
So, after anang list, we'll access dayon the flood hazards. So, the flood is located somewhere at 60s to Kapin. 60s ba to? Let me check. Flood. You can also rearrange it here sa title. Pag i-click nyo na mo, auto-arrange siya sa iyahang alphabetical order. Okay, we're looking for flood. So I should look for it under here. So it's at ID 265 and it's labeled as flood. One is to 10,000, then it is a flood susceptibility map. Okay, so i-admit ni si Haj. Okay, so it's 265 flood, 1 is to 1,000 susceptibility. To add, you can choose an image encoding. Normally, I would choose TIFF. Okay, this is a GeoTIFF image, so mas easier siya ma-load. But if you want PNG, okay ra? Light mangyapon ng PNG. Basta ayaw JPEG, JPEG is too heavy. TIFF or PNG will do. So let's try lighter, kaya basta hinay akong net. But later you can work with TIFF. So click add, and then close. So there, you now have a layer for flood. Okay? And you can still increase the transparency para mo gawas ang unsay nasa overlay sa bottom. So, ako lang gibuhat, nag-right click ko, then I went to properties. So, pagyapon akong flood from lipad. So, just checking lang from time to time. Wala, igawas akong buttons. I think I can now close it. Di na gid siya ga-work. Para ma-focus lang ko in one screen. Na-display ba ninyo na namoy flood nga 1:10,000? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, mugawas dining button for transparency. Just change it to 50%. It will take time kay iya magong i-analyze ang tibok Philippine database. So, don't worry pod kung dugay mugawas ang properties tab. Eh, nakadepende na sa internet speed ninyo. Click apply and then okay. So again, it will load for some time, but make sure lang that you are or kanang your internet is still on. Okay, nakadepende gyapon na sa internet speed. So this detail should appear if I try to zoom in sa kaning downtown Cagayan. I should be able to see the parts where I get very high susceptibility, and moderate susceptibility. But let's wait lang kaya pang i-adjust ang transparency sa tanan layers. So it will take some time gyapon depending sa speed. Morning mo ko nag-access o hinay gid kay ni. In one training that we had this one with my other project, it took us 10 minutes para lang ma-load ni siya. So I advised them nga gabi na lang mo mag-work para nga kanang wala kayo may kompetensya sa internet. Like this one. So ga-load pa siya. Tibok Pilipinas, maupod niyang transparent sa ulat ng ta. Okay, so na error. Nag-time out ang request server, so okay na siya. Let's just zoom in a different part para nga makita na to ang kanang comparison. There's a load button man sab sa ubos. Status bar niya. Okay, so now let's just wait for it to appear and there, move ko. Load ba siya? Hinay siya mo load. Wala gid siya na load. Okay, tura, giload na siya. So ako lang gi-adjust akong view para mo load siya. So now you have an idea kung asa ang maigo nga mga kanang entities sa kaning flood hazard. So you can choose flood or landslide. Mutong nagload ka gadiya o Bukidnon kay if your province belongs to Bukidnon and you want to use landslide, pwede ra. Kung mo choose pod mo flood, pwede ra. Either way, basta kay namin ma-load ni layer, okay ra na siya. So, make sure nga na-load lang na siya and then just disable it kay para dili kayo mo load for the next exercise. In the next step, we'll try to identify zones that will be affected by flood. So, we all actually need to digitize some things. So, when we do digitizing, we actually want to draw the features based on a base map. So, we have the base map here and we wish to draw the features that are affected by flood. So, I can choose a barangay. And para easier sa inyong problem na buhaton or final project rather, you need to choose one barangay. And it should be unique. Dili pwede mag-duplicate. So, now, we want to load a layer for the barangay boundary. So, just go to vector and then look for the boundary under the data that I gave you bitaw. Adtong sa I have here the GIS data, this one, kaninga folder. And inside there should be a shapefile for Cagayan de Oro City Barangay. But there are so many attached files to that, so make sure that you enable ESRI shapefiles for the viewing part para isa lang imong maklik. So here I have Cagayan de Oro City Barangay. So click open, and then add. Then click close. I'll also change the symbology so that I can see the base map. So just go to the symbology tab. And if you have these outlines, you may select just one. So I'm using outline green. But if you don't have this one, you can simply change its color niya mismo. So you can change the color to a different shade. Sige, let's try this color. Okay. And then next, click apply, and then make sure to display also the labels of the barangay. So go to labels. In this tab, click single labels, and then make sure to edit the value name. It should be name underscore 3. Okay, this is the attribute column which contains the barangay name. So name underscore 3. Once you're done, click apply and then okay. So nana din kay barangay nga makita. So para simple yung trabaho, just focus on one barangay. So like in this example, I'll focus on Bonbon. So dira nako i-zoom. Okay, zoom din ko balik. Hantod nga mo gawas ni siya nga section. Next, I'll try to add layers about roads. So naapod ko yung road layers, there is a vector. I also gave it to you. This one, 22 Cagayan de Oro City roads. Click open, add, and then close. So, di lang kayo siyang maklaro dire, but we can change the color of that layer. So, I'll change it sa symbology tab. I'll change the color. Ay, no, violet. Itatag ko yellow lang siguro para pod. Wala political meaning ani ha. It's just that I only see colors or I can differentiate colors if it's colored this one. Okay, so nara. I now have the roads. Then what if I'm asked by my research to look for all roads that are in a flood prone zone? So I can isolate very high susceptibility flood first. So I'll try to turn on my flood layer. Now na itong mulod. Good. So now we will digitize. In digitizing, we will create a new polygon which can isolate the flood hazard map. So to do that, you can look for this button, the new shape file layer. Click this one. And then we'll try to name it. So naming you need to save it first before you can name. So click here sa save. Sa browse. And then you need to add it sa imong folder direct. And then let's label it as roads with VH, meaning very high susceptibility to flood. So VHS na lang. Flooding. Okay. Click save. And then the geometry type should be polygon. Take note, polygon. Kung inyo nang na-point sa'yo, inyong gabuhaton dapat polygon. Okay? Next, I will assume that there's no other what you call this field aside from area. So ang area will be added here. Kaya ito man ang isolve niya. And then the type should be decimal number kaya dili man pwede whole number ang area. Then click add to fields list. Okay? Once you're done, click OK. And then you're good to go to digitize a zone where you have very high susceptibility to flood. So you can move your screen a little bit kay para ma-cover. We're focusing our digitizing exercise here in this part of Bonbon. So after adding the vector layer, you need to edit this one. In editing, you can left click this one and then look for the editing toolbar. The editing toolbar should have a pencil. So sa ako na siya sa right side, but if it's placed on top, dire, naagya po na siya. So look for the pencil button, toggle editing, and then click add polygon feature. Okay, so what will happen, we can start to trace the color of dark blue, which indicates very high susceptibility to flood. So I can try to drag, not drag, but indicate the points as accurate as possible. You can do much more clearer nga zoom para makuha ninyo tanan. Okay, so unsa man akong boundary diri nga side, I will choose the boundary of the base map. Ayaw gamita ang boundary sa flood map kay kanang it's not updated. Ang base map ang mas updated. So let's try up to that point. Once you're done, na-close nimo ang polygon, right-click lang, tapos in the ID, click 1 in the area, don't put any number kay we still have to solve for that. Then click OK. Okay? So mura lang nag-drawing ka sa AutoCAD. But dire, it's based on points. So once mabuhat na ako ng first kaning sa bonbon, nga very high susceptibility to flood, which akong gi-indicate dire, I will then compute the area. So the area can be done in the attribute columns. So first, edits, and then turn off the editing. Okay? So inani ka safe ang mag-draw there is sa queue kay you need to turn on the editing every now and then. Di pa rin sa AutoCAD nga pag nana ang tanan file, imo pa tong i-lock or unlock, di ba? Kaya nimo ma-edit dire, editing lang pud yang locking. So to solve for the area, just go to the attribute table. So open attribute table kani. So nag-right click lang ko tapos open attribute table. Then here you can compute ang iyang computation murag Excel. So look for this button, open field calculator. Okay? In here, these are known functions nga na input na daan. These are actually done using Python programming. So para dili na ka mag-program, nanay na ka abot ang program or code. So for area, we look for it under geometry. And then make sure to look for $sign area. So left click and then double click. Okay? So actually pakitang kanyang output naa siya value nga this is 1,025,553. This is in square meters. So dili na ka mag-survey sa field, automatic na ma-solve. Okay? So once you're done with that, you can actually implement the function kay by doing so nga ato lang i-select siya under geometry tab, nag-allow lang siya nga mag-open sa isa ka kanang function. So para ma-input siya dito sa table, you need to update existing field. So ayaw ning create new field, yan check na siya. You should go to update existing field and then here sa tab, select area. Okay? Once you're done, you can actually click OK. So yan din ang ipakita sa imo ang value. And take note, decimal man siya, so tagaan ka niya up to pila ka decimal place mo gusto. Okay? Then paiguan na niya na sa 20 ka characters kay 20 mo itong i-enable ganiha. So inana pag mag-solve sa area. So pag human ana, just close the attribute table, di na to mawala ang data na natusulod sa polygon. Next, what if I want to extract all the roads that are within a very high susceptibility to flooding? So this is basically a geoprocessing function. So you need to look for it under vector, then go geoprocessing. And then what we are doing is we want to clip the area or the roads that belong. So use the clip command. Here, our input layer will be roads. So roads with very high, delete na roads. Kadtong Cagayan de Oro City roads. And then our overlay method will be the roads with very high susceptibility to flooding. Okay? And then, kay trial pa man ni, check lang kaning, ayaw lang butangin ning parts sa clip bitaw. This is actually the output and we will use a temporary layer for now. Okay, para kung naisayop, ato lang ma-edit. And then check open output file after running algorithm. Para ipakita kaniya sa output. Okay? So after that, ma-set na nato na click run and then you can close. So sa naitabo, iyang gi-cut or gi-clip tanan roads na very high susceptibility. So kung atong i-highlight, kanito nga mga roads, ang delikado basta high ang flood. So see, kana sila nga roads. If we want to measure the length, you can also do that using the length function. So we can right click and go to open attribute table. But in this case, you notice nga daghan kay sa road sections kay katugod tanan nga roads gi added to sa ato ang kanang kani bitaw tanan nga length, i-add na siya sa muna iyang listing. You can compress it to one but I don't advise it yet kay para makita sa nato ang iyahang actual nga length. So here na ba siya length ng column? I think wala. Wala siya length. So pag inana nga wala, you need to add a new column. So you can turn editing on and then you should be able to access the new field column. The new field, label it as length with a type of a decimal number, real. Length, input lang dira at 10, then precision at 0, then press OK. So, ang yang gibuhat, nag-add siya new attribute for length which doesn't have any value yet. And then we will compute for that using the open field calculator. Then look for geometry because length na ni siya, we will look for another function. This time, dili na siya area but something like distance. Length. Na length, so $sign length, double click, and then make sure you update existing field and make sure it's enabled as length. Okay? Press OK. So makuha na din mo tanan length ana nga road. So kung ako lugar si DPWH, makabalo na ko pila kadalan akong i-isolate basta magbaha. And this is actually a research question nga. Pila man permanente nga dalan ang ako ang i-assess basta magbaha. Kaya para makaprepare ko daan ng assets. So that is actually the steps on how you can use GIS to extract point data or even polyline and then use the existing layers for identifying flood areas. Okay? So I hope you got this right this time. So make sure you follow through the steps. And this is just a short session, by the way. But I can entertain more of your questions, but I'll just have to exit for a while kaya na ako isa kang meeting. So just gather your questions here and then I'll come back to it later. I'm sorry, but I have to go now. So just try the steps first and then make sure that you add your questions here when I get back. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige.